ICE agents, they are now filling in for TSA officers in some places.
Let me tell you what just happened to me this morning, because it really made me stop and think.
If you are flying this week, you might want to take more than your luggage, honey. Pack your prayers.
Another hot headline to pay attention to is on top of the rising costs of flights, airports across the U.S. are a mess.
There's confusion at U.S. airports this morning as federal ICE agents under orders from President Trump are told to help shorten the security lines. They're now working in at least 14 airports without wearing the masks that bring complaints from their critics, charged with helping move people through security checkpoints.
Where can we help you to move those lines and American people quicker through inspections while at the same time maintaining security at the airport?
Passengers couldn't miss seeing them from here in Atlanta to Houston, New Orleans, Cleveland, Phoenix, and Newark. They are clearly providing police presence and security. But the union that represents TSA officers says that this isn't making the lines move quickly.
ICE agents can't work up a lane and work it. All they can do, like they've been doing, is providing directional support for the police department, working in the atrium areas.
And she says it's not preventing scenes like these.
This is TSA pre-check, y'all. Like, I have been inside the airport and back out.
There are often massive lines at Atlanta's International Airport running out into the street.
These insane lines, and ICE is super busy at work. Look, the ICE agents didn't talk, they didn't interact with people. It was really just their presence that was there. Seeing them, it kind of made you feel safe, but at the same time, you're still wondering if you're going to make your flight.
In Houston, wait times are truly testing their patience at 270 minutes long. KTRK's Sarah Al-Sheikh was there.
We're inside Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston, where this TSA line has levels to it. The line goes one floor below me to the basement and one floor above me to where TSA is. People telling us it's taking them about 5 hours just to make it to the checkpoint.
TSA set a record for calls out again on Sunday. 40% in Atlanta, nearly 40% at Baltimore and Houston Intercontinental, and more than 37% at New York's JFK. TSA officers are now on their 39th day of missing a full paycheck, a job that has an average starting salary of just $35,000. The president is also now talking about sending in the National Guard to help. It's very hard for people to get a beat on how long these lines are from the websites, for example, because the systems, the cameras that they use to measure the lines only are designed to measure the lines of people inside the airport and not around the block. One piece of advice that we're hearing now is for people to choose to fly at off-peak hours. For example, 5 o'clock last night, it was only a few minutes getting through this security checkpoint behind me.
This is what the TSA lines look like in Orlando, Florida. It is just crazy.
If y'all are traveling to Atlanta, to the airport for your little spring break or, excursion, maybe don't. And if you've been living under a rock, the government is in like partial shutdown right now. TSA agents, airport employees, are not being paid, so they're not showing up to work. So Big Daddy T took it upon himself to send in Vanilla Ice, the little agents. They are funded by the government, so they are essentially taking over what the TSA agents are not doing right now. And honestly, I don't blame them. They're not getting paid. They're like, look, I ain't coming. That's the worst job on the face of this planet, working at the airport. So this is going to be very interesting online. I got an email this morning. It said if you're traveling this week to come to the airport 5 hours early. I would just rather not travel, or I would just drive. I don't know. But online, it said that the ICE agents are just there to manage lines. Help people get to where they're going. I don't see anybody going up to one asking for help, but that's just my 2 cents. But apparently they're not enforcing immigration laws, and they're not checking your bags. They're just there to kind of be the line leader and push things along in an orderly fashion. All the best. I'll call you back later. Bye.
Touchless pre-check, TSA wait times. Oh my god, it's a disaster. Oh my god, Caitlin, why in the Delta Gamma is that? Is it because maybe, just maybe, La Migra es en el aeropuerto? Could it be because El Hielo is profiling your black and brown and neighbors of color? I'm so glad that you were able to use touchless pre-check to get ahead of the line and to get your little Starbucks that you shouldn't be drinking. But you know, that stuff doesn't concern you, right? Too political. As long as you're okay, for now, that's all that matters, right? Shut up about the damn lines! People are getting profiled, kidnapped, and sent to concentration camps. If you care about your neighbors as little as you do your overgrown roots, at least read the room and know when to shut up. Thanks.
So I hope everyone realizes that this whole thing with TSA agents and ICE being at airports is not a coincidence. This was always part of the plan. In Project 2025, go figure, this was always the plan. They wanted to do away with TSA. They wanted to defund it. They wanted to get rid of the union. This was the point. This is not a coincidence. Democrats presented multiple standalone bills to fund TSA while the government was shut down. Republicans would not vote on it. Why? Because this was always the plan. Y'all, the chaos is the plan. And if you cannot recognize that you are being conned, I don't know what's wrong with you. Read Project 2025. Those of you who said it was non-existent or he didn't know anything about it, he knew something about it. This was the plan. The chaos is the point.
Hey, Republicans. So I know that you just kind of regurgitate whatever it is that you are handed from your Republican talking points, but Democrats have presented several bills to fund the TSA, and every single one of them has been rejected. This is not Democrats holding out and making your lives miserable. This is Papa Trump pitching a hissy fit and going all or nothing because he has no context for the suffering of Americans or the suffering of really anybody. So you should call your senators and you should demand that they do a partial funding. Thank you.
I thought I was coming for a quick day trip. Apparently not. Outrageous, my back is hurting.
Some passengers spent more time standing in line for TSA than they did flying on Sunday at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport. Lines for TSA stretched from the C checkpoint down the food court hallway and around to the airline check-in counters.
Well, I was expecting it to be bad because my mom was like, this is going to be horrible. But then we walked down this hallway and they're like, it's going around the corner. I'm like, what? This is where I entered about an hour and a half ago, and we're still not to the security.
CBS News reports about 29% of TSA agents scheduled to work Saturday called out at BWI, which is among the highest in the country. Many passengers say they're frustrated because the online tracker said the wait was only minutes long, when in reality they had to wait 90 minutes or more. Kim Fry and her husband got to the airport 2 hours early, but that wasn't enough.
We were going to have dinner, you know. We're not going to do that now.
This comes as President Trump said he plans to deploy ICE to the airports to help TSA starting Monday. Right now, TSA is not being funded because of the partial government shutdown, but ICE is being paid.
ICE being TSA is not actually comforting to me. It actually makes me very nervous.
BWI Airport says TSA closed 2 checkpoints Sunday, leaving only the C and DE security area open. TSA says hundreds of officers have quit and thousands have called off the job since the partial shutdown began. It says by adding ICE agents, it'll minimize airport disruptions.
If they're not being paid, they got to go do something that gets them a paycheck. I mean, that's just reasonable. ICE is not going to help with that at all.
Don't fly right now.
The American Federation for Government Employees, the union that represents TSA officers, said in a statement that ICE agents are not trained for this type of work, and putting untrained personnel at security checkpoints doesn't fill a gap, it creates one.
Hearing these horrible stories about TSA at the airport. I'm actually not flying till like mid-April, so I think things should be fine by then. But do let me know if you're at the airport and how horrible the lines are, or is it really true? Is it really happening, or is it just all media again?
Every security checkpoint in America right now is an absolute disaster, and the government should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. I'm not here to point the fingers at the left or the right. This is a collective, disgusting thing that's happening right now. Bush Airport, Houston, Texas. People are in the security line, out on the street. This is JFK, New York City. Disaster. Disaster. Here's the Atlanta airport, 1 p.m. 5-hour wait. The security line is in baggage claim. I don't know what you'd have to pay me to wait 5 hours in a line. I know some people, you got to travel, you got to go. But I'm canceling the trip. This is New Orleans. Into the parking garage. I'm sure there's people who showed up at the airport today and just said, I'm going back home. No way I'm making this flight. And this is all thanks to the government shutdown. And guess where the politicians are? Guess where they all are this weekend? Not waiting in these lines. I'll guarantee you that. I will guarantee you that. Pre-check line, which is set up to be more efficient, you have to pay for it and get pre-screened, at Terminal B is in fact outside into the garage. What's the point of even having it? 6 a.m. at Philly Airport, security line back to the Hotel Marriott. I've never seen a line this long in Philly. I watched a video on Instagram. It was at LaGuardia. A guy walked around for 3 minutes straight, normal pace. That was how long the line was. The crazy thing is, once you get into the airport, it's fine. Government needs to figure this out. I don't know why TSA agents aren't paid during the shutdown. Why isn't that a clause? I know they get paid for their back pay, but they don't get paid at the end of the week. They have to wait until the government reopens. Well, I don't know why that's not a thing, though. Just pay them. I'm not the biggest fan of TSA in general. Not the agents. I mean, just TSA as a whole. Each airport should run their own security. That's a different discussion. But yeah, no, this is a disaster. Figure it out, politicians. Figure it out. People save up for 6 months, 12 months to go on vacation, and then they have to wait 6 hours in line. Figure it out.
So I flew through Atlanta yesterday, and the tension in the airport was so palpable. Like, I'm still thinking about it today. If you didn't watch my updates from the airport yesterday, they're on my TikTok. But there are ICE agents in the airport. TSA is not getting paid. The flights are getting delayed. The lines are hours long. You know, my flight got delayed by over 2 hours. It was a whole mess. And the tension was just crazy. I mean, traveling's already stressful and anxiety inducing, you know, in the airport as it is. And with this right now, I've been thinking about it, and I truly feel that the reason that Republicans are not allowing the bills to pass that would allow TSA to get paid, and the reason that they are sending ICE agents into our airports is to cause this tension. Because the more tension they can cause, the more likely that that will build up and then cause something to happen. And then when something pops off, that will be their justification to militarize our airports and take away even more of our freedom than they have already tried to take. I mean, that's why they're not paying TSA and they're sending in ICE. You know, when something happens, they're going to say, okay, well, this is why we need to have ICE in airports and we need to have the military take, you know, TSA's jobs and do this. This has been played out in history before. And if you're in my comments, there's a ton of comments on my TikToks I posted yesterday. If you're one of the people blaming Democrats on this, for this, you are not paying attention. It's not just Republicans. You know, I'm not saying that Republicans are the entire issue. It's on both sides of the aisle. Both parties are screwed. They are both trying to screw us, the American people. I don't trust the Democrats or the Republicans. I want to make that very clear. I think putting trust blindly in any politician is never a good idea. But what is happening here could be stopped if Republicans would let these bills pass. And they are the main part of this problem that I am referencing right now. But we have to talk about this. Something has to be done.
Let's talk about the chaos that we have seen in recent days and weeks at airports across the country. To start, the partial government shutdown has tremendously affected airports and passengers making it to their flights on time and flights' ability to take off on time with a lack of air traffic controllers. Today is day 39 of the partial government shutdown, and we're now seeing a growing number of TSA agents calling out on the job. For example, in Atlanta, the world's busiest airport, it's been reported that more than 40% of their staff have called out in recent days because they don't want to show up to work anymore if they're not getting paid. And then on top of that, President Trump knows that airports cannot continue to function the way they are. So starting yesterday, one of his possible solutions was to bring in ICE agents into airports across the country. So Monday was already going to be a busy, probably controversial day at the airport. ICE agents are supposed to start their first days at the airports. We then wake up to the news, in addition to this, that there was a tragic fatal collision at LaGuardia Airport in New York City. And this crash has really shaken the public as people may be worried now to fly.
People. Yo. Hear me out. If you watching this video and you plan to travel within the next few weeks to a month, you need to watch this video because I'm going to drop some tips to make sure that you don't miss your flight. Right now, there's a government partial shutdown, and TSA agents are not getting paid, unfortunately. I heard they even call in ICE agents to try to help out at certain airports that are super busy. You can see delays up to like 4 hours. So, like I said, if you want the tips to actually get you through and don't miss your flights, keep on watching. I got you.
This is TSA pre-check. Pre-check line, isn't it? Yo.
I actually got out the pre-check line and got into the clear line because you know your boy is official. But yeah, as y'all can see, I am at my terminal. We're about to start boarding, and I made it through those long lines. Now, I'm gonna give you guys a few tips that you need to know when traveling these days because it's getting hectic. One thing I would suggest, first thing, obvious thing, is get there early. You know what I'm saying? Even TSA lines was long as hell. Clear lines long as hell. You know what I'm saying? Get there early. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only tried and true method to like getting through TSA with time enough to get on your flight. Second thing would be to get TSA pre-check or clear. Um, clear is like $209 for a year, 2 years. I don't know. I think it's a year. Every year you gotta pay that. TSA pre-check is I think 79, but I think they have a package that comes with both. I would suggest get that. Highly suggested because shorter lines you don't gotta take your shoes off. You're kind of like the trusted traveler in America at this point. Oh, the third and very most important one that I would say is you know how when you pull up at the airport, there's people outside collecting bags? So those are called bag shortcut. You feel me? Like shortcut drop-off points. Bring a couple dollars with you, $2, $3, $5. Drop your bag off outside if you can, because once you get in, them lines is crazy. Because remember, once you get inside, those lines are people just dropping their bags off, and then people that's also trying to check in. They can't check in on the app or yada yada. So they have problems talking to the agents. So that might put you in a longer line. So if you can drop them off outside and courtesy, give them a couple dollars, you know what I'm saying? Because that's literally like a cheat code. So with that, happy traveling, you know what I mean? Be safe. Yeah, we're talking over time.
As if airports weren't hellish enough. I'm already bored out of my fucking mind. Waiting in line for hours and hours. We're in the baggage claim, dude. Head on over to the old Dunkin' Donuts. Get yourself an iced vanilla latte, and then maybe pop in to the little convenience store, get some shitty headphones and the latest copy of Airport International magazine, just to tide you over for the next 6 hours. If you get bored, you're going to be in baggage claim for quite a while. Maybe you can get on the conveyor belt have yourself a little merry-go-round. That would be entertaining, right? That would be fun. And then once you actually get to TSA, get ready to encounter these fucking knuckleheads. Yeah, our boys are ready to rock. Here they are. They're geared up, suited up. They are armed to the teeth. They got that itchy trigger finger ready in case any illegals want to pull any funny business and try and sneak in. You want to go to Columbus, Ohio? Let's see your passport, son. Let's see your passport, your real ID, your social security card. Okay, yeah. Think again, bro. We're doing the Lord's work. We're keeping the country safe from the likes of you. Guess who's not worried about ICE in airports? American citizens. Oh man, it's amazing what AI can do. Just take all your psychotic, just childlike fantasies, all the crazy fantasies in that little head of yours, and you can just make it reality. I assure you, nobody wants this. Absolutely nobody wants this. But bravo with the AI image, a work of art, truly. To be clear, I want ICE everywhere. Airports, the Social Security Office, the DMV, water parks, grocery stores, truck stops, the titty bars. I feel like you could have condensed this tweet to just please put that boot on my neck, Daddy. Please put that harder. Do it harder. Yes, Daddy, please. Yeah, I don't feel safe in public or in any public situation unless I know that I'm in the presence of an untrained goon with a deadly firearm. That's when I feel safest, honestly. So, yeah, let's keep it going, guys. Great! This is a sick country, dude. I love it. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing things this way.
If you are flying this week, you might want to take more than your luggage, honey. Pack your prayers, pack your patience, and an extra snack because the TSA lines are wrapped on the inside and outside the building. And I'll tell you why. There's a partial government shutdown right now. We are on day 38. The Department of Homeland Security has not been funded, which means TSA workers are calling out because they're missing their paychecks. We've gone from 10% of workers calling out to now 40%. And to top it off, President Trump has ordered ICE agents to work the TSA checkpoints. He says it's supposed to help with some of the chaos going on at several airports across the country. Just this morning at the New Orleans MSY airport, that's Louis Armstrong International, I've talked to people there who waited as little as an hour and a half with Clear, and some people have waited 3 to 6 hours just to get through the lines. Now, standard is a 2 hour before your flight arrival. Airport officials are saying 3 hours. I would even add an hour or two on top of that just to ensure. I'd rather you be there early and find something to do than to be stuck waiting in line. Now, it's unclear how long this is supposed to last, but again, this is happening at airports like New Orleans, Atlanta, and Houston. I think there's a total of 13 at this point where ICE agents are currently staffed. So stay tuned. We will be bringing you the latest, and again, pack your patience.
Do not come. Do not come.
All right, TSA's in shambles right now. Here's how you can get through the line at the airport quicker. First, take advantage of anything that could shave off several minutes going through airport security. 60,000 TSA officers are still working without pay, many of them going full Ferris Bueller. The president even now sending in ICE, which opens a whole new can of worms. So here's what you should do. Some airports, including Denver International, they have a reserve program. Now, I'm not talking about pre-check or clear, although those are still options. I'm talking about spot savers or reserve programs. They're totally free. It's just like making a reservation at a restaurant. Denver's is called Den Reserve. You go to flydenver.com or just search Den Reserve, pops up. You just choose a time that's mindful before your flight, punch in your flight number, your name, number of people in your family. I've used it probably half dozen times, no line. I walk through every time. Also, check airport websites directly. Their estimate wait times for security right now are way more up to date than the federal TSA app. Also, check airport social media accounts. Those could have updates live often. And again, TSA PreCheck and Clear, those services still operational if that's something you want to pay for. The former still has touchless ID as well. Either way, experts say you still want to get to the airport at least 20 minutes earlier than usual, even if lines are moving along smoothly. But make those reservations, search for your airport, see if they have it. They may not, but a lot do. Again, Fly Denver, Den Reserve is what it's called here in Colorado.
At this point in time, I think if you have a flight, you need to get to the airport at least maybe 5 hours in advance because the lines is crazy.
So the line is starting at door 6. It goes all the way down to door 9, loops all the way around. And then the entrance to the line is here. And then there's a whole loop around in there.
So yeah, just give yourself extra time to get through security because the non-revs will be plotting on your seats, okay?
Message right now to Democrats and also to Americans that are stuck in airports. It's really devastating watching it online because Democrats won't fund DHS.
What's devastating?
To Americans right now stuck in airports as we speak because Democrats won't.
Well,
fund
they just
DHS.
don't. They won't look. This is a deal that was done in the Great Big Beautiful Deal, which gave you the biggest tax cuts ever, including no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security for the seniors. Think of it: no tax on overtime, tax deductions when you buy a car. You take money, pay interest on the money, you deduct it. We've never had that for people buying cars. If it's an American car, only if it's an American car. But they are just they stick together, the Democrats, I tell you.
Arrest illegals as they come into the country. That's very fertile territory. But that's not why they're there. They're really there to help.
You have to laugh at this. Democrats created an airport disaster, and Trump somehow turns it into a win, and now they're furious. I mean, think about this. TSA agents stop showing up because they're not getting a paycheck. Airports start falling apart, total chaos, all because Democrats refuse to fund DHS. So Trump sends ICE to the airports to keep things moving and potentially arrest a few casualties along the way, and now Democrats are acting outraged. You cut the budget, you jammed the system, you left the gate wide open, and now you're mad about who's standing at the gate? This is like locking yourself out of your own house, breaking the window to get back in, and then blaming the guy who handed you the ladder. Now here's a video that's going viral, and as usual, the story being told around it is wildly false. Check out this clip of an illegal immigrant being detained at a San Francisco airport. I'm going to break down the real details on the other side of this clip. You know, the ones the media forgot to mention? But first, watch what happened.
Can I see your badge number, sir? What is your name? What is your name? Where's your badge number?
DHS released a statement saying that this viral incident at the San Francisco airport last night involved ICE arrest of a Guatemalan family of illegal immigrants who have had a deportation order since 2019. And one of the females you see there on your screen tried to flee while being escorted for processing. This all happened before ICE was even deployed to help TSA. ICE says they're now working as quickly as possible to repatriate the family unit to their home country of Guatemala. So to be clear, no, this is not the result of ICE being sent to help with security, and agents aren't randomly snatching people off the conveyor belt. Now, speaking of outrage over ICE at airports, the Democrats' meltdown continues, this time starring none other than Hakeem Jeffries. After Trump sends ICE to fix a problem they created, Jeffries decides the real threat isn't long TSA lines or a dysfunctional system, it's that ICE might do their jobs. Watch him take a reasonable response and twist it into a full-blown horror scenario, planting dangerous ideas in the minds of the most unhinged leftists, which we know there are plenty of them.
The last thing that the American people need are for untrained ICE agents to be deployed at airports all across the country, potentially to brutalize or in some instances kill them. We've already seen how ICE conducts itself. These are untrained individuals when it comes to doing the current job that they have for the most part, let alone deploying them in close exposure in highly sensitive situations at airports across the country.
Really? That's the message? Because when you go on national TV and say federal agents are going to start killing civilians at airports, you're not informing the public. You're daring the most unstable people on the internet to go prove you right.
Let me tell you what just happened to me this morning because it really made me stop and think. I had a 6:30 a.m. flight out of Atlanta. I got there at 4:15 a.m. thinking I was doing what I was supposed to do, but I was already too late. The line was wrapped and TSA was barely moving. And the energy You could feel it. Like the agents look tired, they're detached, they are over it. And I'm just standing there thinking, like, we are in the middle of a government shutdown. And these people expected to show up to work without getting paid? Now, let's be real. Ain't nobody choosing to work for free. People are showing up because they have to. Because too many people in this country are one paycheck away from everything falling apart. So, yeah, they're there. But the care, the urgency, the attention to detail, it's not the same. And you feel that as a traveler. So now I'm forced to pay an extra $40 just to get through the line fast enough to make a flight I already paid for. I'm thinking, look at how many times we had to pay just to move. I had to pay for the flight, pay for the seat on the flight, pay for the bag, pay for the carry-ons. You got to pay extra on top of that just to get through the line on time, just to get home. And then I land and my bag didn't even make it. So now I paid for the flight, paid for a seat, paid for the bag, and the bag isn't even here. And that is when it really hit me. What about the people who aren't just traveling for vacation? What about the people flying for a funeral, for a family emergency, something that they cannot afford to miss? And this is the experience? Because when the people holding the system together do not feel supported, they don't feel secure, and they're expected to keep everything running anyway and to keep showing up, you start to see the cracks everywhere. And the American people, we are the ones absorbing the cost of that. Financially, emotionally, logistically. I paid for the flight. I paid for the seat. I paid for the bag. I even paid to get through the line on time. And I still didn't get what I paid for. Because this system will keep charging you whether it delivers or not. And don't forget to go drink your water and mind your business. Y'all have a blessed day. Love you. Bye.
So right now, the airports are in shambles. TSA lines, long as damn CVS receipts, and ICE agents officially today have been deployed to airports across the country. We are watching in real time what happens when politics prioritizes power over the people. Donald and MAGA keep pushing this agenda of America first, America first, America first, but it's mighty funny that every time that they push their ideology forward, that the American people end up last. The TSA agents are not being paid. But what's even worse than that is that the ICE agents that have been deployed to the airports are being paid as they stand right behind the TSA agents, federal workers who aren't. But again, another weak tactic to fearfully force an outcome rather than the harder choice, which would be to cultivate collaboration. And somehow, someway, Donald has found out how to make the general public sympathize with TSA agents. I never thought I'd see the day. Next time I'm in the airport and they snap at me for not pulling my laptop out of my bag, I'm gonna say, you know what, you got it. And at this point, if y'all go down to the airport and stand in line for 2 weeks before you can even get through security, baby, your flight is gone. You might as well go on down to the Greyhound and take a bus. People always made fun of me when I used to take the bus, but at least if you get on the bus, you know that you're heading in the direction that you're trying to get to. Now, you might not get to your destination for 3 to 7 business days, but you will get there. Because at this point, the bus might be the only thing in America that's still running the way it's supposed to.
What's, I think, frustrating for TSA agents and other everyday Americans is the fact that ICE agents who are getting paid, who are going to stand beside and near TSA agents, 65,000 of them who are not getting paid. I think Republicans own this. The pressure is building, and they know that.
Can we talk about the pressure for a second? Look at these lines building in Atlanta in particular. And I'm pointing this out because lawmakers have frequently used these shutdown moments where pressure builds with the public as leverage. And one of the things that I'm seeing in the reporting is that the president wants to somehow tie this conversation about ICE tactics and DHS funding with something he really wants, which is changes to the nation's election laws through the SAVE Act. I don't know how you tie these things together. Here's what Senator Chuck Schumer had to say about the possibility.
Democrats are going to keep working in good faith. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is trying to sabotage negotiations. Donald Trump is now saying we'll pay TSA only after Congress passes voter suppression. What a ridiculous thing to do. What a callous thing to do. He doesn't give a damn about the American people. He cares about his own election. He thinks this SAVE Act, which isn't going to pass, will change how the election comes out, and he uses millions and millions of Americans as hostages.
This would be linking a lot of disparate things into something he wants.
Yeah, look, I think we're hearing the word hostage a lot in the past few weeks. We're hearing it when we're talking about the SAVE Act. We're hearing about it if we're going to fund ICE or not. Everything is being held hostage. And the reality is that also means for voters, they're in these lines and they're questioning what is happening in Washington.
But why do you think he's doing that? Why would you drag the SAVE Act into this?
Because it's one of Donald Trump's #1 priorities. And he's been very clear about that. And I think the challenge for Republicans is they want to reach a deal. But Donald Trump, who may get his own coin, very much render unto Caesar, ultimately he wants to be like Caesar and give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And it's only a good deal for Donald Trump when he says it is. That puts Senate Republicans in a box.
And I remind you, TSA, getting rid of TSA was in Project 2025. Also doing something, rearranging the electorate was in Project 2025. Trump has a base problem at this point, so he needs to feed his base something, give them a win from the campaign side. And so I think these two things collide, and he does not fear this idea of there will be repercussions if TSA is not funded to this point.
Okay.
And that's why he's using this as a negotiation tool.
Another hot headline to pay attention to is on top of the rising costs of flights, airports across the U.S. are a mess. You can trust me, I was in one yesterday. This is because the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is still on shutdown. TSA workers are not getting paid, and this week we are finally hearing about officers not showing up for work as they just missed their first full paycheck on Friday. Breaking this morning, Philadelphia was one of the cities that say they are closing more security checkpoints at the airport because they simply just don't have enough staff to keep it open. So lines are going to keep getting longer.
ICE agents, they are now filling in for TSA officers in some places due to the massive callouts during this partial government shutdown. But judging by these scenes, it is still not nearly enough. Wait times in some security lines, we're told, were as long as 6 hours.
People started lining up before 3 this morning in the hopes of beating a rush at security. Like so many flyers across the country, they show up here not really knowing what to expect or what they'll find. In some cases, it's soul-crushingly long lines and missed flights. On Sunday, the TSA saw their highest call-outs ever. Nearly 12% of those scheduled to work called out sick. The Trump administration Monday deployed ICE and other Homeland Security agents to 14 of the nation's airports, struggling with surging TSA callouts from New York to Phoenix to help shuttle passengers through overcrowded security checkpoints. It comes a day after more than 3,400 TSA officers called out of work due to the partial government shutdown that's kept them from receiving their paychecks for weeks now. Amid the severe staffing shortages, security lines at Atlanta's airport stretch on for hours, extending all the way outside the terminal. Our Nicole Skanga is in Houston, where some travelers navigating Bush Airport were hit with 6-hour wait times in lines that snaked up 3 floors, starting in the basement's subway corridor.
What was it like coming through downstairs?
No air conditioning.
No air conditioning, no service. It was horrible.
No bathroom.
Yeah, there's no bathroom down there, no food.
Before passing through the baggage claim area.
What is your message to Washington right now?
Get it together. Get it together.
Across the country, travelers expressed hope federal agents might help ease the TSA bottleneck.
They need all the help they can get.
But others remain skeptical, including TSA officer and union representative Pascual Contreras.
I don't believe that they're trained in a way that they can help us. I've seen them outside standing around. I don't know if they are doing anything. I don't know.
President Trump said ICE may soon be joined by National Guard troops if a deal to end the shutdown is not reached.
We would also bring out, if we don't have enough, we will bring out the National Guard and where we need it to help out at the airports.
President Trump has told the ICE agents not to wear masks while working in the airports. Now, there is enormous pressure building on lawmakers in Washington, and there are finally some signs that there may be a framework coming together to fund most of DHS, which would include TSA, with an airport security system that does feel to be on the brink.
Look at Denver Airport near your district. They're asking people to donate gift cards for TSA agents to make ends meet. The airport says, you know, this is a huge generator in terms of what the airport does for the region. This is hurting your community. How do you continue to defend the shutdown?
I'm going to be really clear that this is a Republican shutdown. Full stop.
Republicans said
right? Just yesterday, the U.S. Senate held a vote. And Senate Democrats put up an authorization to fund everything except for ICE and CBP. That's Coast Guard, that's TSA, that's cybersecurity. Every single Senate Republican voted against it. In the House, we actually have a bill, Rosa DeLauro and Hakeem Jeffries, we have a clean bill that would force a vote to open up everything, to fund everything except for ICE and CBP. Republicans are stopping it. They're not even allowing a vote on that bill. So we are ready to go. They are in control of every facet of government.
Are left stuck. We're about to be in spring break, heavy traffic season.
They are in control of every element of government. They're in control of what we vote for and don't vote for. We are saying, let's open it back up. Let's fund Coast Guard. Let's fund FEMA. Let's fund TSA. Let's fund cybersecurity, which, by the way, we need because we just started a war with Iran, which has a huge cyber capability. Yes. We want to fund it. We're ready to fund it. We will take the votes tomorrow. They're stopping that vote. They own this shutdown.
You can't even tell, but like this is baggage claim, and that all the way there through like a sea of people is TSA. So hopefully we make our 8 o'clock flight, 8:45.